Hey, so it is June 13th, 2020 at 11:56 p.m. I know I keep saying that I'm going to be better about these. Um, I know the last one was May 5th, so um, clearly not doing a better job. I think some of it's just as things happen, I get more and more in my head, not more in my head, but just it seems like a much more daunting task, and so I kind of hold off. Um, that being said, there's definitely been a lot that's happened. I mean, uh, kind of on a personal side, well, I guess all of this is personal, but from a personal development perspective, I have been. I've still been keeping up with my what is it called? The word that I'm thinking of, therapy. And I've actually made, I feel like, some pretty significant advancements there. One of the things I realized, I was driving one night, and it occurred to me that I don't know why it came to mind, but I thought about when I was younger. There was a time we were playing when the my aunts from Malaysia came to visit, and I remember my brother and I got these play sets. He had a city one and I had a farm one, and he was playing in the family room and I was playing in the entryway. Everyone was in there with him, and no one was really out with me. And I just remember basically being out there by myself, just playing by myself. And I think at one point maybe Suin had walked by and maybe she played for a minute or two, but then even then she went back into the other room. I remember crying a little bit that day too. And at the time I thought, maybe this is where my longing for someone came from. And when I got home that night, I started digging through scrapbooks and trying to figure out when that happened. And in the process of that, I also found that some other things had kind of happened around that. I found that Michael Fitzpatrick, my best friend at the time, that happened. The Christmassy incident, the playing thing, happened, and then a couple of months later, my best friend Michael Fitzpatrick moved away to Georgia, and a couple months after that was when my sister got married in Georgia, and shortly after that time would have been when somewhere right around there would have been when Amy Lou joined my second grade class in Mr. Hillinger's class, and I liked her. Also through this process, it wasn't in the scrapbook, but my mom had also given me a card a couple days prior, from when I was younger, from Tara. She used to live up the street from me. This is apparently her in 94, October. I think they had already moved away at that point. There's a letter in here that kind of explains how she missed me, and her mom had written it, but she wrote her name at the bottom. Apparently drew this picture too for me. But that also happened shortly before this thing at Christmas time, and I started to think that, and this is my best assessment of this right now, is that I dealt with, Tara had also moved away to Georgia, and so I think I kept seeing these people leave me, these people that I cared a lot about, and when it got to the point of my sister's wedding, I understood that that was something where this person is going to spend the rest of their life with this other person, and that was something I very much wanted. Like, essentially, essentially someone that wouldn't leave me, um, someone that would always be there. And I think that's partly why I gravitated toward Amy when she joined our class, and then that's kind of been my why I've always looked for that deeper connection with somebody ever since. Like, it's not just anybody that's out there, it's specific people, and there's qualities about them that make them stand out from everyone else. And I mean, that actually, I mean, that's the most logical thing to me. The therapists seem to think that was pretty in line, and um, yeah, it's been an interesting one to deal with. It's made me question a lot of things lately, and just trying to understand it all. I mean, kind of related to that. I mean, kind of yeah, I guess kind of tying into that too. I mean, like, kind of, we look at how, like, the level of involvement that my parents had with my, like, scouting involvement versus my brother or sister, or how, you know, like, the visits they'd make to see my brother or sister versus what they'd do to see me. And I mean, I think some of that may have to do kind of with, like, the dynamic of the family, how it's more like brother and sister. I mean, it's more like I'm kind of my dad's favorite, my brother's kind of my mom's favorite, and then it's kind of split on my sister. And I think that's been something where it's like I don't get that same level of affection, and I think that's why I've been looking for it elsewhere too. Um, Same level from, like, my dad and then my mom. You know, it's not like she doesn't give it, but I think I don't. It's not the same, and so it's always kind of felt unfair, and even, I mean, kind of that flow too. We were talking. I thought, like, I mean, I always put a lot of emphasis on the relationship side, and that being an important thing, and where I want to focus my interests and time if it's an option. And I think that it just has to do a lot with, like, how important that is to me. Um, I know I talked about how sometimes when I try to work on projects, I have trouble focusing on it myself. Um, it ends up being something that my mind immediately jumps to this other stuff, and I mean, some of that too, I think, stems from. This is another thing that I've kind of thought about too, and haven't fully fleshed out, but there were a lot of ideas I had growing up on oh yeah, this could be a cool business idea, something tangible, and I would present it to my dad, and almost every single time there was some reason why that wouldn't work, um, including my air vent idea, which he's now kind of talking about as his own idea, which is a little bit annoying. Um, and I think that just kind of ruined my self-confidence and made that difficult. Um, I mean, similarly, I'm gonna kind of jump around a little bit just because that's where my mind is at the moment. Um, I think that a lot of my failures with women have stemmed from, you know, the initial ones being more my gut feeling and those not going well, and then kind of the later ones, like, my brain trying to protect me, and so I'm trying to listen to my brain more. And well, we'll get more into this in a minute, but and until Alma, I really hadn't gone back to my gut. I hadn't gone to trusting it, um, which has been an interesting experience. Like it's been nice. Like my brain still freaks out about the stuff, but like my gut trusts it. Um, yeah. Um, yeah. There's just a lot of stuff there with, I think, my upbringing that kind of has shaped me into who I am now, and I'm trying to figure out like what are the things that I want to keep from that, and what do I need to try to change. Um, so we're still trying to figure that out. Still trying to talk through it. Yeah, that's kind of the bigger, deeper, long-termy stuff. I'm gonna pivot now. Can I go more into the topic of Alma? So, what, May 5th was the last video, so May 15th, I think I took the day off from work too, and she had to go in the afternoon, yeah. And so I asked her if she wanted to get breakfast, and neither of us are morning people, so it was kind of nice that she agreed to that. I mean, she was tired, I was tired, didn't really get to sleep in, but she did it. And I mean, we got to spend about 4 hours together before she had to go to work. We ended up just driving north and ended up in Santa Monica, and she mentioned that her favorite ramen place was nearby, so we went by there, got that, tried that. That was pretty good. It had like garlicky, had a lot of garlic in it. And we picked it up, and we drove over to like Santa Monica Pier, and we were trying to look for somewhere to eat. We found this little like grassy area, parked, went over there and sat down on the grass in the shade and just faced out toward the ocean and talked and ate, and it was really nice. I talked a little bit about how I would like to get better at my people photography, and but I never have time to like sit in, dial in settings, kind of understand what I'm doing, and she offered that I could take pictures of her, and she said, "Oh, but I'm not very photogenic," and I got a lot into my head and didn't say what I wanted to say, which was, "Yes, you are. I think you are," and that kind of got to me a bit. We didn't have a whole lot of time to I mean, it definitely wasn't rushed when we were sitting there talking and eating, and it was really nice. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but I mean, it was 4 hours, but we had to drive back because she had to go to work at 2 o'clock, and I think we got back to her house about 1, and at that point I gave her the water bottle that I had ordered for her. I think it was the day after the first time that we had hung out. It was a Yosemite water bottle because she had mentioned to me that her water bottle broke, and so she didn't have one, and she had just been using cups, and she had also previously mentioned that she loved Yosemite, and so I pulled it out, and she was really excited and said she loved Yosemite, like excitedly said that I love Yosemite, and gave me a hug and thanked me, and I texted her on the way home because I was like, I don't think I said thank you for lunch because she had paid for that, so I just wanted to say thank you, and she said you're welcome, and thank you again for the Hydro Flask. I brought it to work with me, which was really cool. Yeah, it was really nice. And then, crap, I forget the date right now. Let me look real quick. A couple weeks ago, it was I don't know why this isn't just ingrained in my head like all the other dates are. Um, duh, duh, duh. Doo, doo, doo. I don't know why this is so hard for me to find. Oh, okay. May 28th. I had to go to the office. I didn't have to go. They had told us that anything personal they were going to box up, and um, I already kind of knew that I had grabbed everything that I cared about, um, mainly this. Um, on the last day that I was there. So I knew my desk was pretty much empty, but it was an opportunity to go to the office. And so I timed it so I would be there about the time that she was getting off. And messaged her, and she was all for like meeting up and at least saying hi. So got there, and I had a text that said, like, because she wasn't sure about what time I was going to get there, and if she'd still be there when I got there, but she had said, like, if not, we can do something this weekend. And so, I went in, got my stuff, and, we were texting a little bit back and forth while I was in there, just trying to coordinate, and grabbed all the stuff, threw it in the trunk of my car, and she texted me and saying she clocked out, asked where I was, and I said I was out front. So I was turning and walking toward her, and I just saw this huge smile at the other end of the walkway, like the other side of the plant, out front on the sidewalk, and a wave, and it was just really nice. And I just walked up, talked for a few minutes. She was telling me, she pulled out the water bottle and showed me, and said she'd been bringing it to work and she loved it, and that was really nice. Something that, doing that, giving her that water bottle was already a huge step outside of my comfort zone, which was really nice. For me, like even just from a personal development standpoint, and I'm really glad that she liked it and enjoys it, and makes her smile. And so, like, I was trying to set something up for that weekend, and then something came up, and so we tried the following weekend, and something came up. So then tried the following this weekend. We were talking, and she's like, maybe next, because I told her that I was gonna have this Friday off, and she's like, maybe if I have the day off too, we can go do something, take a break somewhere. And she's been like kind of moving into the house and painting and getting everything ready, and so she's been kind of busy with that. So that's part of what's been keeping her. And so I kept trying to, like, see what I could make happen. There was actually a point when we were texting last week. Well, okay, yeah, she was saying that maybe we can hang out, and we had a bit of a conversation after that. A couple pretty significant texts back and forth, and like lengthwise, like if you were to get a wall of text, we had like three of those that were we each sent three sets. They were like pairs, or I think three sets total, or something like that, where it was like walls of text, but just, it was more like a natural conversation, which was kind of nice. And I remember thinking in the moment, like, I really enjoy getting to have real conversations with her. I think I even wrote that down on a sticky here. But yeah, so I know it was a pink one, but yeah, I'm almost positive it's on one of these stickies here. Just because I wrote it down in the moment. I've been trying to be better about, like, as I feel things, just writing them down, and having my thoughts on paper, getting them out of my head. And there was a point where we were talking about something, and I'd asked if her parents would miss her, and she was saying they'd miss the kids, but probably not her. And I was like, I said something basically that I missed her, or it's at least what I was trying to hint at, by saying that you always struck me as someone that would be hard to forget, hard not to miss. Um, I mean, I didn't get a response to that one, so I kind of worried that maybe that was a little bit crossing the line, but I know she's also terrible at responding to text messages. Um, and so I kind of just didn't respond for a bit, and I sent her a message this week asking on Thursday, like, we had a little bit of a text back and forth, but then essentially asking, like, do you have that time for a break? Um, and to, like, go do something, and I didn't get a response to that one, and so I was thinking I screwed up somewhere, um, which definitely not great. I went over to Nathan's house this morning. Was there pretty much all day, and we were talking. Rick was over there, and Chris. We were talking about a whole bunch of different stuff, but I kind of talked to Nate about this last night. Well, this morning at like 2 a.m. 22 hours from now, before now. Kind of just talking through my thoughts and how I wanted to tell her what I felt and my thoughts, and yeah, and so like I was thinking, like, hey, I'm gonna be out there, maybe I can see if on the way back I can stop by and just get this out, because it's been building up for weeks. I wanted to tell her that day I went by the office, but because she had floated that idea of being able to hang out that weekend, I was like, okay, I'd rather do it then, just because it'll be less rushed, it'll be more relaxed, we'll have time, like, there's no hurry. I mean, there is no hurry, but like, I didn't want to be typical me and not take action. And so I was just going to do it that weekend, and then that didn't end up happening. And so it's kind of been building up inside of me, and it's really been bothering me. That, along with the not telling her that I thought she was photogenic. And so when I was over there after Chris had left, after Rick had left, we were talking, and he wrote a message for me, and because I couldn't think of how to word it, that all I could think of was like, hey, I'm like nearby, can you talk or something? Could I stop by a few minutes and talk or something like that? And he had essentially just worded it as like, hey, I'm nearby, do you want to grab some coffee or something? And I was like, yeah, that's fine, other than I don't know if, she knows that I don't like coffee or tea. And so she said yes. And so I went by and picked her up, and she got in the car, and we talked for, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes. Maybe it was longer, I don't know. Time always seems to go by really fast when I'm around her, which is really nice. We were talking for a bit about like how things had been going, and she's like, yeah, she brought up, like, should we go get coffee or something? And then she goes, don't you not even like coffee? And I was like, no. She's like, what did you ask? And I didn't want to necessarily give the reason right then and there. So I think I said, like, I just wanted something. I just offered up something, and so we went over to this tea place nearby, and you couldn't necessarily sit inside, so it's like, why don't we just drive down PCH and see, like, what we find? And so we started looking around, and at some point it came up for ice cream, and so we ended up going to Cold Stone. Got ice cream there, and she told me the different things she liked. She got a brownie. It was like it had a lot of chocolate in it, but had brownie in it, and they had smushed it up, and then it was like mostly bits, but there was like one big chunk that she saved for the end. Um, I got a strawberry. It had like strawberry and like white cake in it. Um, it was pretty good. But we just sat there and talked. It was kind of nice. She had to get back though because she was trying to finish or get as close to finishing that other room as she could, and um, I mean we drove back and just talked. Good conversation. I mean even when we got back, we sat there probably like 10 or 15 more minutes and just kept talking, which was really nice. And um, she gave me a hug, and I asked if I said I wanted to say one other thing, and I went on and I brought up the thing about, the previous, a couple weeks ago, and her saying she wasn't very photogenic, and I told her that I thought that she was, and part of that was that I've been bad about giving compliments, and I've been trying to be better about that. I overthink it, um, and like I just that I overthink it. And then I said that even going back to um, like the holiday party, and I came out and told you, a couple days later that you look really nice, and said even that was holding back a bit because when you came out, my thought was you're beautiful, and just wow. The first thought was wow, but I wanted to say you're beautiful. Um, and I told her that part of the other reason why I had trouble telling her was that I liked her. And I could kind of tell by her face, like, that wasn't how she felt. And she was saying that she saw us as friends, and like I was saying that I still enjoy us as friends, like even if nothing comes of this, like and she had mentioned that she respected me for lots of respect for actually having the courage to say that, because it's not easy getting that out. It's probably the hardest thing that I've had to do with anybody. There are probably harder things in the world, but just expressing those feelings towards someone and that possibility of getting rejected is rough. It's a lot of pressure, and I just wanted to get it out there. And at least from the conversation, it seemed like she's okay still being friends. I'm not 100% sure. I feel mostly okay about it, but there's part of me that's a little bit iffy. And I don't know, that's probably just me overthinking it. She did tell me after she got out of the car, before she shut the door, not to overthink it. I don't know. And I'm sad about it. Like, no doubt about it. I'm sad about it. I've noticed whenever I talk about her, I'm still smiling. But this time has hurt the least. And I think part of that's because I got to say everything that I wanted to say, coupled with, well, almost. There were a couple of little things that I wanted added in there, but all the big points were hit. But couple that with her response and how she took it, and she still, even after that, before she got out of the car, hugged me again. So I mean, I think we're still probably okay as friends. I'm definitely hoping that's the case. Um, but yeah, I gotta say it all. She seemed to handle it pretty well. She was mentioning like life's a mess. So I don't know. I mean, there's part of me that wants to hold out hope and maybe it's just a timing thing, and maybe over time she'll see I don't know something else in me. But there's the part of me that's I mean, to be fair, that's kind of the gut feeling. That's not even brain feeling. That's just gut. Um, the brain feeling, and some of the gut feeling is just derived from the fact that like there's been a lot of things in here, and she did say like she wanted to just clarify that because clarify some of what she had said just because she didn't want to lead me on. And I appreciate that. I was just, it's not, how do I want to say this? It sucks and it hurts, but I got out there and I did it. I said what I wanted to. I don't know. It doesn't hurt quite the same. It 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 definitely hurts. Like it sucks. It's not a position that anyone wants to be in. I mean, going into this, I had talked to some people, and some of them were like, "Are you ready to be friend zoned?" And I mean, I guess if you think about it, you're kind of friend zoned going into it too, because it's almost like that Schrodinger's cat thing. Um, and until until you confirm they could both like you and not like you. Um, but it's, I mean, there's a part of it that's nice knowing. Um, it's nice to get it out there. I am proud of myself for saying it, for getting up the courage and saying it. But sorry, I am going all over the place. Kind of on the topic of like wanting to hold out. Like there are a lot of things that over time, those things between her and me, her and me, um, I haven't experienced with anyone else. Like there are times that I'll say something and I am very used to people just okay, yeah. Um, but she'll ask questions where I would expect people to, but no one ever does. Um, I don't know. She's always been someone that I felt like I understood more than anybody else. Um, like she made sense to me. I mean, she still does make sense to me. I mean, some of the aspects of this are a bit confusing to me, and I don't fully understand it. But I mean, like the amount of time we spend together, like the only other person that I spend anywhere close to that time with is Cherry. Um, and I mean, like I guess I do with like Luke and Jeremy on like a weekly basis, but I mean, like there's definitely nothing there. Um, but I mean, like there there aren't that many people that I spend that much time with, and that want to spend that much time with me, and are excited to spend that time with me, and um, just go random places, try different things, see what's out there, and I don't know. It just there's not. She's been very different from everyone else. Um, very different. And I mean, I think I jumped around a bit, but while this is in my head, there was a bar that got set. I mean, it's not like one metric, but qualities and ways that I felt about the situation and how I felt that so it didn't really exist at all at one point. And then 14 when I met Amanda, that was like, okay, this is the bar. And nothing challenged it until Alma. And that set it like way out of frame. But she was so different than everybody else. I mean, she still is. She's not any different of a person now than she was then. I don't know. There's still something. Of course, I'm going to say that because I'm still very much, in that mindset. It's going to take a while to get that out of my head. But yeah, she's different. And I mean, there's definitely the rational part of my brain is saying, move on. You shot your shot. Just start trying to heal, move on. Stay friends. I mean, I can do that. I mean, hopefully that doesn't mess me up on the inside. Because I mean, I know I can hide and suppress those feelings for years. I've done it before, many times. And I think if I notice that that's the case, then probably I need to take a step back. But it was really nice that I could be that open with someone about everything. And the only thing that I ever really held back on was that I liked her. Again, probably the only one that I'm quite that open with is Cherry. It kind of sucks. I mean, it definitely sucks. Not just kind of. I keep saying this kind of stuff. Yeah, but I mean, like, my gut. And I guess this is where it's like, do I trust it? I've been trying to trust it more. But do I now trust it? In that my gut says, I think there's something there. Maybe the timing was off. Maybe the delivery was off. But don't give up yet. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't know where I'm going to go with this. I don't know how I'm going to process all this information. I am handling it surprisingly well right now. We will see how this goes in like 2 or 3 days. Yeah, we'll see. Definitely an interesting time. Yeah, we're gonna have to see about all this. I may try maybe next week just see if she wants to hang out again. I know she may still be painting or moving or something, but it doesn't hurt to try, right? But let me clarify real quick. I'm not saying that I am going to try to make something happen. I'm just saying happen like in the context of me liking her. Just I'm essentially like make sure that we're still good as friends. So we'll see. I hope I don't lose her as a friend, because genuinely, like, she's one of the people I like to be around the most. I think I may have mentioned it before, but um, I may have mentioned it before, but I think there was a point in time where I thought that she was bringing out who I wanted to be, bringing out those qualities in me. Just not necessarily like her specifically, but like almost like she was a spark, this catalyst that just started things off. And it got to a point where I realized that it it wasn't that she brought that out in me. It was that she was bringing out who I actually was. The person who's been hiding for years, dealing with the one that dealt with depression and got scarred so much, has been playing the role of Eugen for years. And until I met her, that part of me didn't want to come out again. The original me. And I mean, like last night, I was still kind of in the thought that I screwed something up. And I mean, my subconscious, see, that's the other confusing thing. My subconscious has generally been a pretty good indicator of, had a pretty good idea of what's going on and how I'm really feeling. Because only when things are going well with a woman do I end up cleaning my room. And you can't tell from this shot, but 5 a.m. the other night, I spent like an hour cleaning up this room. And then last night. And then tonight when I got home, I spent a little bit more time cleaning. Which tells me my subconscious thinks things are still okay. Despite the words that were just said a few hours ago. So, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I need some time to process, and we'll see what happens. But for now, I'm gonna just keep going. Pushing through life, and trying to continue to improve myself. Because that was a little bit of why I said what I wanted to say today, too. Was that some of what drove me was personal development. Like, if I didn't say this was going to be something I would have regretted. I've been trying to be more transparent and open. And I guess the one little caveat, the one little part there that I missed was that the only thing that I've kept from her in all the time that we've known each other has just been this. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's it for tonight. It is now almost getting close to 1. I've been doing this for 45 minutes now, which is probably the longest one, but I've also had a lot built up. I'm not going to make promises that I'm going to do these more regularly. I mean, it's definitely something I need to try to do so that these videos are not 45 minutes long. But, this is what I'll say. I am going to continue working on improving me. that comes in a lot of different forms, but that is the commitment that I'm going to make. All right, well, I think that's probably about it for right now. I don't really feel like talking about the job stuff right now, but there is some stuff around that. I may bring that up next time. Maybe it'll be tomorrow. We'll see. All right, that's it for now. Bye.